Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and build a real, practical survival guide for gamers who are feeling completely priced out of the current PC hardware market. Look, if you've been glancing at component prices lately and feeling your wallet physically recoil, I promise you, you are definitely not alone. So let's just start by validating that frustration right out of the gate. A recent poll of over 3,500 builders brought one massive question into stark reality. Why is literally nobody building PCs right now? It feels like the entire community just collectively hit a giant pause button. Well, today we're going to dig into the data to figure out exactly why that's happening, and way more importantly, how you can navigate it. Here is the roadmap for today's explainer. We'll look at this current market freeze, unpack the high-end industry trends causing the squeeze, reveal some upcoming budget components from AMD you absolutely need to plan around, and finally, lock in your future build strategy.
All right, Section 1, the Great PC Building Freeze. High prices halt the hardware market.
To really grasp the problem, we need to see just how many of you are stuck in this exact same waiting game. The data here brilliantly illustrates the pain. Get this, a staggering 70% of over 3,500 surveyed viewers are holding off on a new build for over 2 years. 2 years! Only 11% plan to build before the 2-year mark, 7% before 1 year, and a tiny 8% within the next 6 months. Those numbers are incredibly stark. It's crystal clear that consumers are just totally turned off by these inflated memory and storage prices right now.
Moving to Section 2, the macro squeeze between NVIDIA and Intel. High margins and enterprise focus.
Let's zoom out to the titans of the industry for a second. We need to see why all the latest tech seems geared entirely toward enterprise budgets rather than, our personal wallets. Take a listen to this quote from an Evercore channel check that surveyed over 25 AI engineers. They straight up noted that buyers are unhappy with NVIDIA's massive 70% gross margins. Here's the crucial shift. AI workloads are moving from training models to inference, which basically means actually using the models out in the real world. And for that inference phase, buyers are fiercely hunting for cheaper, cost-per-token alternatives just to escape NVIDIA's expensive monopoly.
And because of this massive pushback on pricing, NVIDIA's inference market share is actually expected to decline to 50% by 2028 as new competition floods into the AI space. Now sure, NVIDIA is still going to completely dominate AI training with an expected 70% share, but this expected drop in their inference share, that is great news for overall market competition. And as we know, more competition at the top eventually trickles down and benefits us all.
Meanwhile, over in Intel's corner, they've got some wild stuff in the oven. Intel's upcoming next-generation Nova Lake desktop CPUs are showing off some absolutely incredible performance jumps. We're talking about reports of a massive 52-core engineering sample that's pushing roughly 20% faster single-threaded performance and 1.8 to 2 times faster multi-threaded performance compared to their current-gen parts. Plus, they're bringing their very own version of 3D V-Cache to the table, known as BLLC. Sounds amazing, right?
Well, hold on, because here is the catch, and it's a big one. While Nova Lake is technically on a consumer platform, it's highly likely to feature high-end desktop or HEDT pricing. Since it'll probably be priced similarly to a crazy expensive Threadripper chip just to account for those enterprise-level memory and I/O benefits, it remains a really tough sell for the average budget builder. I mean, it's super cool tech, no doubt, but it really doesn't do anything to help our frozen wallets.
Let's jump to Section 3, AMD's budget saviors, the hardware to watch. Okay. Finally, some actual good news. Let's look at how we actually build a path forward here. AMD is stepping up to the plate to save your future build. Based on their own internal projections, they are predicting a huge drop-off in gaming demand. They see the massive freeze in the market, they know we're hurting, and in response, they're bringing out 2 highly anticipated products designed specifically to establish a new price-to-performance benchmark and ease the heavy burden of those inflated PC parts.
First up is Product 1, which is a revival of an absolute classic, the AM4 10th anniversary re-release of the 5800X3D. This right here is the perfect drop-in upgrade for those of you who want top-tier gaming performance but desperately want to avoid the incredibly expensive jump to an entirely new AM5 motherboard and DDR5 RAM. But the price point is where things get really exciting. This leaked from an Indian retailer at 30,000 rupees. Now, if we do the math, since that inherently includes an 18% goods and services tax, we can calculate that this chip should launch right around the $260 to $270 mark in the US. That is a way more palatable price point, and honestly, it should completely crush the absurdly inflated scalper prices we are currently seeing for these chips on eBay. But hey, Maybe you are ready to make the jump to the new AM5 platform. Well, a well-known leaker just revealed Product 2, the brand new 7700X3D gaming CPU. When we line these specs up directly against the heavy-hitting 7800X3D, the similarities are wild. The leaked 7700X3D has the exact same 8 cores and 16 threads, the exact same 120-watt power limit, and crucially, that massive 96 megabytes of gaming-boosting L3 cache. Where you're actually making the sacrifice is purely in the clocks. It steps down to a 4.0 GHz base and a 4.5 GHz boost. So because these are essentially binned chips that just didn't quite make the cut for those higher speeds, the lower clocks are a decent downgrade out of the box. But here is the massive silver lining for us. Performance losses on the 7700X3D could potentially be won back through manual overclocking. It is going to be absolutely fascinating to see just how much performance savvy gamers can claw back themselves. And the absolute best part of this whole leak? The price. The rumors are pointing to the 7700X3D launching right under the $300 mark. At sub $300, this chip is perfectly positioned to be an absolute budget beast for the new generation.
Which brings us to Section 4, your future build strategy, navigating the market.
So, bringing all this source data together, what's the clear takeaway for your wallet when you're planning that next PC build? Well, here is your battle plan. First, hold off on buying right now if you can. You really want to dodge the inflated memory and storage prices causing this current freeze. Second, if you're staying on the AM4 platform, target that $260 to $270 5800X3D Anniversary Edition for a massive cheap upgrade. Third, if you are making the move to AM5, just wait for the sub $300 7700X3D. The entire strategy here is to bypass those expensive enterprise-level chips from Intel and NVIDIA and offset the high RAM and storage prices by anchoring your entire build with AMD's impending budget-friendly 3D V-Cache CPUs.
So I'm going to leave you with this thought to ponder as we wrap up today's explainer. With real, tangible budget hardware finally visible on the horizon, the question is, will these sub-$300 budget saviors be enough to finally thaw your personal PC building freeze? Or are you going to keep holding out, waiting for the broader market to drop? Take a hard look at your own setup, weigh these upcoming options, and start mapping out your survival strategy.